Before we dive into today's movie story, I just want to let you know that this is a recap of the film, so there will be spoilers ahead. The movie begins with a group of people undergoing interviews in the prison known as the Pit. Among them is a man named Zimi Tien, who ended up here after attempting to set his family's house on fire. Each person mentions their favorite type of food because the pit consists of multiple levels and everything revolves around food. When Zimi Tien wakes up and sees that the food platform has arrived at his level, he's shocked to find out someone ate his pizza. He wants to eat something else, but the people on the level above him prevent him, as they follow a law created by the inmates themselves to ensure that food reaches all levels. The structure has 333 levels, and Zimi is currently on level 24. The man above explains that everyone is only allowed to eat their portion so that the food can make it to all levels. He assures Zimi they'll find out who ate his pizza eventually. However, Zimi doesn't care much and is about to eat when Bella, the woman sharing his level, stops him. She tells him the man above is right and even gives him a piece of her food to convince him. Zimi realizes that this law wasn't imposed by the administration, but was made by the prisoners themselves. The man explains that Zimi is lucky to be on level 24 because, in the lower levels, people barely get any food. Every month, levels change, so Zimi could end up much lower next time and might wish for the system to be followed fairly to ensure survival. Bella voluntarily entered the pits because she wanted time to forget what she had done. That night, communication between the levels begins. Everyone learns that communication was lost at level 24, and they don't know if the people there followed the law or ate someone else's food. Zimi recalls his interview, and it's revealed he had tried to burn his family's house down but changed his mind at the last moment. However, the trash bin caught fire, leading his family to deem him a danger to himself and others, resulting in his transfer to the pit. The next day, Zimi and Bella wait for the food platform. Zimi learns that the man who ate his pizza is being punished. He hears chaos coming from above and sees the man above preparing to jump onto the platform with someone else. Zimi grows nervous because he's not the type to handle fights, but Bella quickly pulls a metal rod from the bed to defend herself. When the platform descends to their floor, they find the body of someone on it. The man above jumps onto the platform with another person, but unfortunately, his partner on the floor can't throw the food that fell from the platform back to them. We learn that if the food stays on the floor after the platform descends, the temperature either gets extremely cold or unbearably hot. Unfortunately, the girl doesn't manage to throw the food back, the environment heats up, and she literally burns to death, falling in front of them. Zim stands in shock, unable to react. But Bella, in her last moments, manages to throw the food away, saving them both. The revolutionary man blames Zimi for the chaos, saying that no one will eat that day because the fight destroyed the food on the platform. He explains that he plans to take the rebellious man to meet one of the chosen. When asked who they are, he reveals that they are people who were fortunate enough to meet the maestro, the figure who established the rules. The chosen are responsible for ensuring the law is followed. No one knows if the maestro is still alive, but the revolutionary recounts a message of hope sent by him long ago. He survived an entire month without food on a low level. The next month, he was placed on another low level and, when no food arrived, he cut pieces from his own body to survive and helped others eat. His message of solidarity spread throughout the pit, leading to the creation of the law for fair food distribution. Despite this, Zimi is uninterested and complains that he hasn't eaten for 2 days and just wants his pizza. That night, Zimi finds Bella's burnt body and mocks the revolutionary, asking if they should eat her, just like the maestro supposedly did. The revolutionary man ignores Zimi's mocking comments, picks up Bella's burned body, and throws it off the platform. The next day, the food platform arrives, and Zimi is thrilled to finally see his pizza. However, he's shocked when the revolutionary throws away food left behind by the dead from the previous day. He explains that he doesn't want anyone eating more than their share. As a result, he assigns Zimi and Bella to be responsible for ensuring leftover food is disposed of properly every day. Their job is to throw any remaining food into the toilet so no one can eat it. Zimi is confused by this rule, arguing it would be better to eat the leftover food than waste it. But the revolutionary firmly refuses, saying it must remain this way to ensure fairness. The revolutionary then takes the troublemaker from the previous fight onto the platform and descends. The next day, Zimi secretly eats some of the forbidden food, which Bella notices, but initially keeps quiet about. Over time, Zimi stops caring about the rules entirely and eats leftover food without hesitation. He begins to notice Bella's artistic talent as she spends her free time drawing beautifully. On their last day in their current level, Zimi learns Bella is a talented artist who entered the pit to atone for her past mistakes. Zimi also shares his backstory, revealing he was once a mathematician who spent his life studying numbers. However, he lost faith in mathematics and life after grappling with the concept of imaginary numbers, like the square root of -1. Unable to accept their abstract nature, he abandoned his career, wife, and children and moved back in with his father. Their conversation is interrupted when they hear cheers from other prisoners. The revolutionary announces that, for the first time, food has reached level 175, a significant achievement as it had never gone beyond level 100 before. However, the celebration is short-lived. The next day, Zimi and Bella wake up on level 180, where it's nearly impossible for food to reach. When the platform arrives, it carries only empty and broken plates. Day after day, Zimi and Bella endure hunger, growing weaker. Zimi begins to crack, passing the time by flicking his lighter on and off until he becomes exhausted and spits up blood. Suddenly, a severed head falls onto their level. It's revealed that the Chosen have finally arrived, tasked with enforcing the rules and protecting the food from rebels. Bella cares for the sick Zimi, who is racked with guilt for eating the forbidden food. The Chosen suspect someone on their level has eaten food meant for the dead. Bella lies to protect Zimi, claiming they were on a different level at the time. Despite this, Zimi is terrified of being caught. One night, he admits to Bella that he came to the pit to learn self-discipline, but has failed miserably. To ensure Bella doesn't suffer the consequences of his actions, Zimi decides to take his own life. He quietly ignites his lighter and sets himself on fire, leaving Bella screaming in anguish as the flames consume him. As the month ends, Bella wakes up on level 51, sharing the space with another woman. Bella, now hardened and strict about following the rules, insists on discipline. When the new woman finds her favorite food missing, Bella sternly tells her to wait until the next day. Meanwhile, chaos breaks out on level 54, where a rebel is causing a major disturbance. A group of prisoners on the levels above him plans to descend the next day to stop him. Bella offers to join them, but the group declines, explaining that only the 4 levels directly above the rebel are permitted to intervene according to the law. Bella notices that her new cellmate is missing a hand, and the next day, despite the prohibition, Bella and her cellmate decide to ride the platform down to confront the rebel. When they arrive at his level, he attacks with intense ferocity, making him difficult to overpower. In the final moments, Bella manages to knock him to the ground. Before she delivers the finishing blow, the rebel begs for mercy, explaining that he had spent over a year and a half in the lower levels, enduring unimaginable suffering, and had only eaten excessively out of desperation. Moved by his plea, Bella spares him, allowing him to descend with the platform. Later, Bella begins to suspect that her cellmate has been in the pit for more than just 1 month. The woman admits she has been trapped for 6 months. She explains how, on her first day, her previous cellmate introduced her to the rules, which she reluctantly followed. Despite her skepticism, they adhered to the law, believing it protected the food. However, one day they encountered a young man dying of malnutrition. They took food left behind by the dead and gave it to him, breaking the rules. Days later, one of the most feared enforcers, known as Bobby, arrived. Known for his brutal commitment to the rules, he decided to make an example of them. He severed her cellmate's hand as punishment. When her cellmate retaliated by gouging out Bobby's eye in self-defense, he tied her to the platform and sent her down to the lowest levels to be consumed by the starving prisoners. This horrifying experience made Bella's new cellmate determined to escape. She began formulating a plan to avoid the sleeping gas released at the end of each month, hoping to escape during the level transitions. However, their hopes are dashed when Bobby himself arrives on their level, accompanied by his followers and a captured rebel. Bella's cellmate panics, knowing they will face harsh punishment for breaking the rules. Bobby, now blind but still terrifying, orders his men to punish Bella and her cellmate. In a savage act, he cuts off Bella's hand, just as he had done to her cellmate's previous partner. As for Bella's cellmate, Bobby ties her to the platform, condemning her to suffer the same gruesome fate as her former companion, being lowered level by level for the prisoners to devour her flesh. Bella wakes up on level 72, her arm severed, sharing the level with character central to the events of the first story. This twist reveals that Bella's tale takes place before the timeline of the original film. Exhausted and at her wit's end, Bella decides to ride the platform to escape. When the food arrives, Taram Jossi devours it savagely, as is his nature. Bella persuades him to join her rebellion, and together they descend, recruiting people from the lower levels by promising them as much food as they desire. Their group grows, but their progress halts when they encounter Bobby and his enforcers, who throw all the food off the platform to prevent Bella and her followers from eating. Bobby declares that he'll starve them until they weaken, making it easier for him to eliminate them. In response, Taram Jossi coldly suggests eating Bobby's followers on the lower levels if hunger strikes. At this point, Bella's backstory unfolds. She was once obsessed with art to the point of acquiring a statue of a feral animal with sharp claws. Tragically, her partner's young son was killed when the statue's claws accidentally gouged his eye. Overcome with guilt, Bella entered the pit hoping to escape her trauma. After days without food, Bobby and his men descend to Bella's level, sparking a brutal battle. Chaos erupts as everyone fights for survival. Bella nearly dies, but Taram Jossi hands her his knife, enabling her to defend herself. Despite suffering a serious injury, he collapses, bleeding out. Bella refuses to adopt Bobby's methods of punishment and chooses not to let anyone eat from Jossi's flesh. Instead, she leaves him to die naturally. Bella then stages her own death, hoping to escape. She lies motionless among the corpses, allowing the guards to collect her. To her shock, there is no gravity as the bodies are transported, revealing that the pit might be in space. Bella frees herself and attempts to escape, but discovers a child alive in the pit. Struggling through the weightlessness and her injuries, Bella carries the child to the bottom of the pit, a dark and eerie abyss. There, she confronts the haunting visages of everyone who has died. Determined, Bella plans to send the child to the administration on the platform, believing they represent hope. However, she is told her role is over and only the child can ascend. This mirrors the fate of Goring, the protagonist of the first film. Bella and Goring share a surreal and impossible encounter, symbolizing that both have died and met the same fate in the world's strangest prison. The film ends with the child ascending as Bella fades into the darkness, leaving the audience with a poignant reflection on sacrifice and humanity. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If there's anything specific you'd like to see in future videos, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.